Hello everyone and welcome back to Love Online. I'm Bishop Dr. Carla Dunbar. Today, yet another interesting and relatable topic. But before I begin, can you like, subscribe and share? This is how you help me to evangelize marriages globally. Go ahead, someone you know may very well be interested and could benefit from this video. Okay. So today's topic is controversial values in marriage. When we talk about value, we're talking about the things that are important to us. And the truth is, we will have conflicts in marriages because we are different. And so we come from different perspectives on matters that are considered to be important. Now, conflict about value issues, politics, gender roles are inevitable in any long-term relationship. Learning how to communicate and empathize during these conflicts can be crucial to the sustenance of the relationship. Sometimes the question arises, where do our values and priorities differ? What can we do when those differences creates conflict? Now, I think the first thing to remember is that you're not partnering up with another person to be another version of yourself. Because part of the appeal of your spouse may in fact be some of the very differences that you both have. Now, if these differences are handled well, a little friction or even a little conflict over personal opinions can add some sort of dynamism to your marriage. The key, I find, is how these differences are handled, or if you're able to do conflict well, because some people are. Now, if you both get into negative conflict patterns, that includes things like taking offenses personally, or contempt for the other person, or stonewalling, or even personal attacks, then obviously this doesn't speak well for the harmony or the growth of your relationship. Now, here's what I see in my office week after week. Two intelligent, caring people sit across from each other, locked in what feels like an existential standoff. One partner believes money should be saved aggressively, while the other partner wants to spend however. You understand that life is meant to be lived well, and YOLO, you only live once, right? One partner wants to raise the children a particular way in a particular faith, tradition, and then the other person left religion years ago or has no interest whatsoever in religion, right? And so they come to me convinced that this difference is the problem. It is not. Yes, it is not. And they believe that if they could just resolve this one particular problem, then everything will just nicely fall like snow into place. I'm convinced that they are generally always wrong about that. Not because the differences doesn't matter. It does. But because the way that they are trying to solve the problem is making everything worse. Because what is happening is you're applying cognitive solutions to biological problems. And it is like trying to put out a fire in a burning car, and I experienced that by throwing water on it. It's going to fail. Because what it does is it accelerates the destruction in the relationship. Right? Different perspectives on shared value. What are the different perspectives? Now, couples have widely varying opinions on how much they actually need to share. There's the consensus, where most traditional marriage philosophies stress that being on the same page regarding mainly four major issues: money or finances, faith, child rearing or bearing, and debt. These things yield the highest probability of a successful marriage. And these are reports of findings. Then there's the mixed opinions, because in relationship or marriage, one that shares a variety of experiences, some couples find profound fulfillment by retaining their individuality and holding divergent views on the matters I discussed earlier, as long as respect is maintained. And then there are others that argues that major ideological differences erodes the foundation of the relationship over time. We are consistently faced with differing perspectives. Okay? As I said, the most common value clashes, I believe, is when couples face the irreconcilable differences, the friction, which usually stems from one of the foundational areas. I spoke about financial philosophy, where couples have different values regarding saving and spending, regarding debt and financial transparency. And some partners prioritize the security of a strict budget. When I'm discussing financial intimacy in my premarital counseling, this is where the rubber generally meets the road, right? While other persons now value the freedom of discretionary spending. Money, how we were brought up around money, helps with that one, and then we can lend our mature understanding to the matter will help. Then there's the matter of parenting and discipline with children. Now, conflicting views on boundaries, education, religious upbringing, this becomes particularly tense when deciding which cultural or spiritual values to pass on to our children. We have to make decisions on that. And I don't think that, as we say, to throw out the baby with the bathwater. We can look at what is important and what can be adapted in our own family as opposed to what was in our family of origin. Then there's lifestyle and career. Disparities in ambition. One partner may prioritize career advancement and wealth, while the other partner places their highest value on family commitment, time spent together, and personal fulfillment. These are matters that you have to discuss. And then, of course, let's not forget the extended family and boundaries. Yes, disagreements on the role of the in-laws and how much extended family should influence or be involved in the daily marital life. It's just about how to navigate the divide. According to relationship experts and other family therapists like myself, dealing with these differing values requires separating our philosophical differences from genuine harm or control. We have to check for things like erasure. If a partner's value system forces you to abandon your core identity or compromise your physical, emotional safety, then it's not simply a difference to be managed. It is an unhealthy dynamic in the marriage, and that has to be paid critical attention to. Then there's active listening and empathy. When you have unresolved challenges, perpetual disagreements are common. And experts recommend focusing on why the value is held. Example, a need for security versus a desire for autonomy in the relationship. We need to understand rather than trying to force the other person to change their mind. You have to determine the non-negotiables. Identify which values are entirely rigid and non-negotiable and which is flexible and even essential in the relationship. In premarital discussions, what we discuss in premarital help persons to prevent these blind spots. But with continuous dialogue, which becomes necessary, it does as values evolve over a lifetime. None of us remain static. We change. And so our values sometimes, not the foundational one, but others that we inculcate may need to be assessed. One of the things I think we ought to do is to practice mindfulness and prioritize self-awareness in your marriage, because self-awareness is the process of knowing and understanding yourself, who you are, what you personally believe, what you need, what feels safe to you, what feels threatening, etc. These are the things that you come to know about yourself when you focus on you. Practice mindfulness and self-awareness, and then be intentional about intimacy in your marriage. Don't allow just anything to create a divide. Be reminded that intimacy is not just about coitus, sexual relations. Intimacy is a deep and profound knowledge of each other that may also be expressed through sexual intercourse. But intimacy is further expressed through tenderness and care and kindness and loving leadership, and accordingly to be a student of your spouse. Consistently be a student of your spouse, so that you may know each other deeply and continually over the lifetime that you have together. And you also have to learn to self-regulate. Regulate before communicating. Check your emotions, because they run high, and one partner might shut down or stay away for a while if we think that is what is needed. And it is biologically impossible to solve complex problems while your nervous system is in flight or fright mode or in disarray, right? Do that, and then validate each other. Validate rather than fix. Acknowledge how your partner's lived experiences has shaped their values. We can't change them. We shouldn't want to change them. And even if you fundamentally disagree, like myself and Elder disagree on some things, the goal is to hold two different realities without erasing either one, and finally, but not conclusively, identifying, as I said earlier, what is non-negotiable. Right? Just discuss where you are and where your partner are not absolutely aligning on something, and where there's room for flexibilities. Many couples that I've worked with have found that shifting from a mindset of trying to convince their spouse to explore their perspectives relieves the pressure without eroding or fracturing the bond that they both share. And the word of God, again in Colossians 3:13, it advises us, bear with each other and forgive each other. And if any of you have a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgives. Let us not hold so fast to my belief, what I hold, what I came from my family of origin with, and not pay any attention or validate what your partner came with. You're two different individuals who had a life and a story before you met each other. Let us not invalidate each other's feeling. Let us understand that opinions matter and opinions have value. I trust that you found this podcast to be helpful. If not for you, then for someone you know. Please, again, like, subscribe, and share. Let us evangelize marriages globally. For more information on marriage and family, register now at the gym, the Grow Your Marriage Ministry, the Grow Your Marriage Academy, or just contact us at Carla Dunbar Ministries at gmail.com, or DM me on Carla Dunbar Ministries on all of my social media handles. We offer short courses for wives, how to speak to your husband will listen for husbands, loving your wife in a Christ-centered way, for you as a couple together, marriage maintenance, or sexual proficiency, or even parenting together. If you're single, the Marriage Readiness Intelligence is just for you. If you're a courting couple, then our On Your Marks will suit you just well. And if you're a seasoned couple, we have a marriage certificate coaching program that helps you to be a better mentor to someone else. Why not register today? Remember, your marriage is not meant for surviving, but for thriving and overflowing. That's how you'll be able to help others. Until next time, this is Love Online, and I am Dr. Carla Dunbar. I'll see you.